Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video, we're just going to be drawing a whole bunch of Marvel Mighties. We're taking the knowledge that we learned in the previous video on how to, kind of draw these things from our imagination and from reference. We established some of the design rules, such as 2 heads high, half head for the, for the torso and things like that. We're just going to quickly rehash some of that before we jump into like a final scene. But yeah, essentially we're going to be drawing a whole bunch of these things. We're going to probably explode it as well. Yeah, just picking it apart and try and draw it from every single angle. So let's just start with referencing this one. This is quite a cool one. So let's draw a circle here for the head. Remember, this is not the actual circle of the head. It's just like the container. In fact, we're going to flip it up a little bit. So this is actually going to be the head, okay? And then I'm going to add on that extension down here. And see, so this is the chin just here. It's going to go up to this line. And this one's going to go up to this line. So like his jawbone. Cool, and then we know it's 2 heads high altogether. So we can just do that, earmark it. It doesn't have to be super accurate. If we then take these 2 points and go halfway, we know that this is where the torso kind of ends. Now, I do want to expand on the torso a little bit. I don't feel like I covered it very well last time, but essentially I picture it as almost like a jelly bean. So imagine like 2 circles and then it's just like a little bit bigger at the bottom. So something like that. Okay. So then he's got this leg coming this way. And he's got another leg shooting out this way. Again, you can put the arrows in, that's absolutely fine. And then it goes back into space, just like that. This arm comes down, and then it comes towards us. And this arm looks like it goes this way. And then, of course, it comes towards us. There's a lot of foreshortening happening there. Cool, so then let's just block these in. So the leg comes out like this. Walk over with your cross contours, just like we did in the last video. You can walk back over again, but we'll walk this way around because it's going away from us. Okay, and then go down, flares out, walk over, and back up. Okay, and then we need to decide again which form is the one in front. Obviously, this leg is overshadowing this one. So we just do that. Cool. And then over to this leg. This one comes down, we can walk over, down, then it kind of kicks out at the bottom here. Cool, and then back up. I'll make it pinch in a little bit here actually, and then flare out a bit more as it goes towards the bottom. There we go. Cool. Put in these cross contours for the feet, because they always help describe the form. This one could be doing with a little bit longer, so we'll bring it down a bit. Cool. Connect that up. And then it's got this like swirl pattern on his knee. So I'm going to add in some of these characteristics now as well. So let's do that. Let's add this little swirl thing in here. It's quite a cool, fun thing to draw anyway. Looks like he's got another one just here. And this one's like on his knee. So it might be where they've twisted the model a bit, I don't know. Or maybe it's just meant to be uneven. So let's just draw that. Just do something like that. Doesn't have to be super accurate. Let's add on this belt. Again, it's a nice cross contour and it's a characteristic. So just walk across. Cool. Okay, then he's got his torso actually kind of twists a little bit. So it is coming this way. It's kind of like that. So his centered chest piece is just here. So we'll add that on. It's got an outer ring and then an inner ring. Again, doesn't have to be super accurate. And then it's like a number 4. So I'm just going to do a 4 here as a center line first. And then I'm going to add in the pieces. So this one goes here. There's a little piece just here. This one comes this way. That one's that way, that's fine. And then the inside is like just there. Cool, let's just shade that in. Okay. Okay, let's do his arms next. So again, just nice, simple cylinder forms. It's all you need. The upper arm, this bit here, is kind of the same length from start to finish. But if you remember, this forearm actually gets wider as it gets towards the hand. So we'll make sure we make it wider, like that. It's also coming towards us a little bit, so there is a bit of foreshortening. Cool. And then his fingers will be like here, coming out. So let's draw some arrows, keep it simple. And then the thumb is just here. Okay, and then we can just fill these in. There's an arrow going this way as well. Okay, and then there's usually like a knuckle here. You can't really see it on the model that much, but we'll add it in. And same with here, you'd follow the center line down and you get like the knuckle where it turns. Cool, and then the thumb. There we go. Right, let's add in this little neck piece here. Again, these models don't really have a neck, but we can add that in. Define this. Come out for the belt. I'm just doing like a little outline almost of the character and adding some weight onto these lines. And as it gets towards the bottom here, I want the line to get a bit thicker because this is where all the weight is going. And it also will create some rhythm as well for us then. I mean, it's a pretty nice model anyway, in terms of rhythm, because you do have like these nice curves coming out, and then like the opposing curve would be like this way, which is quite nice. Let's do this arm. So again, same thing, nice cylinder for the top part of the arm. The nice thing about this as well is we can rotate the model so we can see what it actually looks like from different angles. My pencils need sharpening, but we're good for now. And then this one just comes and gets thicker as it comes towards us. Cool, and then we got the hand, which again, same thing. We'll just do shape for it for now. Fingers will probably come out around here. Again, just the arrow. So let's do the 3 arrows this way. And then we have the thumb going that way. And we can fill those in. Just block out this face a little bit. So we have the outline of the face just here. And be mindful of that neck piece. So I thought that was a chin a second ago. I forgot to put that in. So let's sort that out. Cool. So let's divide this ball in half, be about there. It's more or less the eyebrow line. If we go halfway again, what do we get? It was the nose. So the eyebrows should come down a little bit actually. So just because we have these rules doesn't mean they don't change between different characters. So always just keep measuring things in your head as well. So halfway, more or less the nose, which means the ear would also start here. And remember, this ear finishes where the eyes would be. So halfway between the eyebrow line and the nose line, it's kind of the center of the eyes. So the center of the eyes will be through this eye, through this line, and then we can add in the ear because we know where it starts and stops now. Cool. You can't see it on the other side because the face is turned. Okay, let's add in this nose just here. And there's millions of different ways you can do these noses, so just do whichever way you want to do. Okay, this nose comes up. We'll add in the mouth, again halfway. Bring this chin up a little bit. He's got kind of a smile, smirk going on. So it's kind of comes up a little bit more towards the eye here. So if this was the center of the eye starts above the nose, kind of on this line, just here. So about here is where the smile is going to stop. And now I'm just measuring the corner of the nose to the eye to see how wide it's actually going to be. So probably stop here. Okay, let's put in the shape. I'm going to draw a little bit of an upper lip as well. Because it's smiling, it's not too prominent and it doesn't really show it on this model anyway. He's got very flat lips on this model, but I want to put it in just to give it a bit more detail. Okay, and then we can walk across and then that would be like the bottom shadow of the lip. Okay. Now we can add in these, if we walk up, we can see we can add in the start of the brows on the brow line. Okay, if we walk from the chin, the center of the chin up to the ear, that'll give us the cheekbone line. These models don't really have a cheekbone, but if you're doing shading or something, then you'd color this in, depending on what way your light's facing. You can do the same on the other side. So we add the nose in, let's add in the other side. Okay, and then the eyes. It's kind of like ellipses on this model. Find the start point, it's going to be somewhere on that. We know the center of the eye is going to be there. We can match up with the other eyes, make sure it's all accurate. Cool, and then the hair. So hairline, usually around halfway between these two lines. This one looks like it's maybe set up a little bit higher, so we're going to go higher for this character. Again, every character can be different, so just keep measuring. And then he's got these like sweeping curves that go back. And they're quite nice. And this whole kind of shape of the hairline, it's almost like a V, so we're going to make sure we're doing a V. The turning plane is just here. So you can see it's almost like a ball with like the sides chopped off. So it'll be usually like here where the eyebrow bend is. Something like that. So that's where we're going to turn it. It's going to come down. This eyebrow probably extends a bit too far. Comes down like this. From that turning plane, goes back behind the ear, and then goes up again. And then, not at the corner, but maybe about halfway down between like the sideburn and that turning plane, halfway, we have that other line that comes up here. And it almost actually comes off of the eyebrow. So if that was there, then the eyebrow, we're gonna have to make a slight adjustment. It's gonna have to come this way. So each character can also have their own rules as well. But in general, all these mitres are the same. And the same with human figures as well. Like for the most part, we're all kind of the same. And you can always change things. So this is my first time drawing this particular character. Okay, the center one coming back. I swear this model keeps moving as well. Okay, so we have this one, we have this spike, got a center spike, it comes up, goes back, and then goes up again. Okay, and then this folds into this one. Actually, it doesn't fold into that center line. This is where now I have to struggle. Comes out of this one. Okay, that's it. And we can shade that one in. We can shade this one in. There's a slight ridge there. We'll shade that in. Obviously, this one here as well. Cool. So that was that center line, that was that line. Then we have another line going this way. And then we have the equal opposite on this side. And then we can't really see it on this model, but we know it's here, so we're going to draw it in anyway. It is the opposite side of that hair. Okay, and then that's just going to come this way. Cool, so we kind of have this character in. We just need to do his fingers. I'll quickly add those in. Cool. But I want to change to a different pencil because that one's running a bit low. So let's try a blue pencil. Yeah, that's cool. Right, so what should we do now? Again, we have our rules for this character. Shall we explode it? Let's do that then. So what do I mean by explode it? What I mean is I just take all the parts away from the character and then we can rotate them and look at them in a bit more detail. So let's do that. Let's start with the torso. Okay. So we said before it was like a jelly bean, so almost like T circles, bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top. So that could be like one torso. And you can put your center line almost anywhere. So you could have this one facing this way. You could change it and have it facing this way. It doesn't really matter, it's up to you. It's a 3D model. You could even like change the perspective completely and say, let's have the small one on top and then the big one underneath it. And then you could do it like this. Okay, and then you have your center line maybe go in like this. Okay, and then his head would like be here on top. So they're like twisted or turned in space. You can do anything, of course. So, okay, so we have our torso. Let's look at the arms. So again, we know that the arms are kind of just, there's going to be like a groove here for the arm. There's going to be a groove on the other side. Let's pull away the arm. So the upper arm, as we know, it's just a basic cylinder. We can do that on both sides. Okay, and then after that we have this forearm, which we know gets thicker as it gets away from us. So let's draw that. So it's almost like a cylinder to start with. Okay, but it gets thicker towards the ends. I'm just going to shade the ends in. Okay, we'll do the same on this side as well. Get rid of that. Okay, so you can draw it as the same size and then you can draw it getting thicker. Cool, so that's that. We can do the same for the legs. So again, they slot in just about here. We can pull those out. They're actually almost like they're one piece, but they are two pieces because they bend at the knee. So the top piece is kind of the same as the arm. It is just kind of like a normal cylinder shape. Okay, and then the second piece, as we know, gets thicker towards the bottom. Cool, and we know that is about the same length, right? So if you add those two pieces together, they should be the same length. So I'm actually this far out because we have a gap. So if we were to draw this leg, it would probably extend out. So I maybe haven't blown it up enough. And again, I appreciate this is probably getting redundant. You know, like what these shapes are by now, I'd hope. What I'm just trying to get across is that you can do pretty much anything with it. So this is obviously going one way. Well, you can also explode it out this way, right? Like, you know what these things consist of. And that is the point that I'm really trying to drill into your head, that you can actually draw these from any angle. You just need to try it. Okay, let's do it front as well. So this is all like in a circle. Cool, and then of course the head would fit into like a hole here. So maybe there's like maybe you have the head and there's like a little piece that comes down, which would be of course the neck, but in this case, this piece slots into that hole. You don't see the neck, you just get the head. Okay, so let's do the head next anyway. Let's say there was a piece for the neck, we'll just do that. That goes inside. Okay. So the head is this tall. So let's do it here. Just gonna mark that. It's actually this big. We have an extension bit to circle Okay, so this would be his chin, and then this is his jawline. Okay, and then you can add in the rest of that as well. Cool, hopefully you see how that works. Okay, so that's the exploded Marvel Mighty. Bit thicker on these shoes. So how do we actually light this? So let's say we wanted to actually add in some light into this as well. So say the light was coming from this direction. So how do we do that? Well, again, these are all kind of basic cylinder shapes, right? So what we do is we find a turning plane. So we do our cross contours and we find where it turns away from the light. So if the light was coming this way, this would be all lit up. And then this would be maybe like where the core shadow would start. And then we can just fade that into darkness. And this is also away from the light, so that would also be dark. Okay, so we can do the rest of these cylinders also like that. We could do the same on the face as well. Again, it's all coming from this direction. So we already have like our things divided in half. So for most part, this is all going to be in shadow. But then there are features that also come up. Okay, so let's imagine this was like a skull of the Marvel Mighty. So we know this would be in shadow. We know that this turning plane just here, like where the eyebrow would arch or whatever, this is also going to be in shadow. We'd also probably have the ear here as well, goes halfway from the eye. So this would also be in shadow. The mouthpiece, I'm not going to draw a proper mouth, we'll just do this for now. The mouth, if the light was coming this way, these models don't have a lot of detail on them, but we do know that all this side is going to be in darkness. Again, there's no anatomy on these facial features much, so it's hard to know where to do the lights and the darks. If you have a nose here, then obviously this nose would also be all in darkness. For the chin, if the light was coming this way, you'd have a core shadow there, and all of this would also be in darkness. If you had the other eye filled in, which we don't, so let's quickly add a socket in. As the light comes down, that would be in darkness, especially under the brow. Okay, so we'd put that in darkness. Maybe a little bit just here, but there wouldn't be much on this side of the face at all, depending on, you know, how strong the light is and everything else. So the neck would have darkness. The actual torso itself, well, what we do is, again, we find the turning plane. So if we were to draw across this torso, we actually almost added the turning plane just here. This is kind of where it would be. So let's just darken that. And then all of this would be in shadow. You see how that works? It's pretty simple. So what else can we do with that torso actually? So we've already talked about stacking it up. That's straight on. So we can do different perspectives and things like that with the torso. So the leg was coming this way. And then back. Okay, so what else can we do with that torso? So let's say we had it like this. What we could do is we could have the chest, which would be like the rib cage, facing this way, and then maybe we could twist the rest of the body, like the pelvis, this way. So if we were to add in these lines, we wouldn't just do it like that. I mean, we could do, but as long as that centerpiece is well defined, what we would probably want to do is twist it a little bit. So we add in a compression just here. And again, these characters don't really have these creases, but if they did, it would look like this. And then we'd add in a stretch just here. So this side would be stretching, and then this side would compress. Okay, and then maybe, you know, you have your head coming here. Something like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we're already like 32 minutes in. Not quite sure what else to cover. I don't want this video to be too long. So what should we do? We'll probably just leave it there for now, I think. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit. So we've done kind of like a final drawing here anyway. We've exploded the Marvel Mighty. We've drawn each part now in different angles. We know how to stack things on top of each other. So we can put these figures in kind of any position that we want, just like this one here. We can twist and add dynamics and rhythm to it. Let me just add on a little bit more to this then. So let's say they had the head here. So we twisted it. We know we can do whatever with our legs, with the Marvel Mighty legs anyway. We know the shape is just cylinders. So to have this one going this way. Nice, simple characters to draw. So we have the leg also going back. Kick out. Yeah, I think you get the idea. I think if I talk about too much more, it's just going to get redundant. Let's just do a real quick character piece. We'll do it quite rough. I want to find one that has like accessories, just so I can talk about how to add on these accessories. So yeah, this is a good one. The is it the Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin? I think it's the Green Goblin. Yeah, Green Goblin. Let me grab a different pen. All mine seem to be wearing down. Cool, so let's just do this really quickly. We don't have to wait for this to load because we know how to draw this already. So let's do it where, let me move the paper a bit. You can kind of see here, can't you? So let's just do figure height. It's going to be like that. Halfway for the torso. We're going to do like a jelly bean. I'm just going to copy this one for the most part. Same pose. So larger at the bottom, a bit smaller at the top. Connect it up. Find the center line. Add a little bit of twist on if you wanted to. Add on the legs. Okay, and then it's got this whole kind of tilted hoverboard thing. Not a hoverboard. What's it called? I think it's got a glider in the films, cartoons, comics, whatever. So we'll add that in there. Up a little bit. So chin's there. We'll draw the ball here. And he's actually quite a cool character because it's kind of like based on a skull, this design. So it's actually a good one to talk about for the underlying structure. So we obviously did the skull over here, but this is the actual almost skull of these characters. So again, if you follow the chin up to where the ear would be, that's where we get this this cheekbone just here. So it would come out like here on this character, for example. Okay. And we can follow over to the other side, do the same thing. And again, we have this nice cheekbone structure. Cool. Let's add on those hands. I mean, you could just draw these all day now because you know how these are constructed. It's just a case of adding good composition and good rhythm. That's actually going away that way. And it's got an arrow going that way. He's holding his pumpkin. Okay, it's got these nice cross contours that come in from the center here. And then we can feel these bumps as well when we draw our outline. Okay. And that just gives it a little bit more dimension. Okay, and then this hand, same thing, arrows for the fingers. And it goes down. Cool, and then we can just round this off. And these are, just think of these almost like just squares that are stacked on top of each other. In fact, I'll do a whole nother lesson on how to draw these hands, or hands in general. And it will give you a really good understanding on just how to get started with that. Cool, so then he's got this nice piece for his hood. It comes like this. I'm just kind of eyeballing this for the most part, but you can measure this out because you know how to do that now. He's got a belt that comes and wraps around this way, and he's got another one that goes across the form of our jelly bean torso this way. He's got some little pouch thing here, which is just like a box. So I'm just going to stick a box in there for now. He's got this buckle, which just sits over the top of the belt. Like that. He's got these knee pads as well, so let's add those in. They have some nice cross contours for us. Okay, mine's going a little bit of a different direction, but that's fine, I can fix that. We'll just do it the way we've drawn it rather than copy completely. So these are actually shields by the looks of it. on this side I thought it was just a rectangle, so we'll change that into a shield. Cool. And then his hood. So let's follow this hood. So the hood comes around like this to the top of his head, almost into like a point. We can follow this line back up around the head, so we can make sure we've got the center point. So more or less the same. And then this hood comes around the skull, goes down and flares out. Okay, we'll just shape that in. Okay, and then it's got this nice piece that comes about back like this. We're going to add a little flare flick onto it as well. Okay, and that can just go in shadow. Cool, now his ears. He's got some cool ears. Let's add those on. So find the center point of this, and we get the center of the ear. And it kind of goes up like that. Other side, we can draw through this hood. And then we have that side. Obviously, there's a bit of a gap here that doesn't exist on this model, but absolutely fine. This is just a rough. Cool, so let's draw this glider thing here. It's got kind of like a curve shape to it here, and some weight into the center point. And then some cool looking eyes, like diamond shaped. Cool, and then it comes out. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you get the point, as I say. It probably just is getting redundant now more than anything. Let's just quickly add this in, see what we can do. But yeah, if there's anything you want me to talk about on the next video, then feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to see if you guys actually draw any of these characters as well. That'd be really cool. I'm sure Vivi and Marvel would also love to see that. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Hope you've learned something from these. It's definitely been enjoyable to teach. So yeah, right, I'll leave it there. I shall speak to you soon. Bye.